It's been a couple weeks since I uploaded a video. Kind of doing a little bit of boring stuff. Starting to get my wood up. I wanted to get all my verticals put in. Now I'll start running. I've got all my ones finished that go around the casings for the doors. I'm using number 6 2-inch finish nails to put these up. And I got the vinyl put down in the living room. That tape that you get for gluing this down, the stuff at Lowe's is a lot easier to work with. I've used both from Home Depot and Lowe's, but the stuff at Lowe's is a lot easier. You can pull the backing off and then lay the vinyl down and just pull the backing out from behind it as you go along, so you don't get any lumps or creases in it. So and of course I used a pattern method on it again so I could protect it, and just trimmed a little bit where it was tight, and I waited for a warm day to glue it down so it wouldn't warp up. The way I do my trim is I go ahead and get it cut on the weekend, and then during the week I come out, I'll sand it real good, I put the pre-stain on it, and then sand it real good again and put my stain on, let it dry overnight, and then come out and put the first clear coat, let it dry overnight, and put the second coat, and then by the time the weekend gets here it's ready to work. And this is the stuff I'm using. That, don't forget to use pre-stain on, especially on pine, so it raises the grain real good, and then you can knock that soft grain back down when you sand it before you stain it. And then use the polyurethane finish, because it this pine soaks it up really well and it hardens the wood up where it's not so soft, and that second coat finishes it off. Alright, I got the facing on the doorways done. Went ahead and put those up, and I cut every piece of base trim except for the bedroom. I don't know why I totally forgot about that. I like the way these turned out. Also 2 up top. I know some of y'all were thinking, how was I going to trim that out? I didn't know how far back I was going to need this J-trim trims back, so I just went ahead and put it all the way up there, and then measured it once I got my face gap, and then just cut the trim to match it. Looks better like that. And I did it up there also, so you don't have to see all that J trim up there. Now I have to work on these. Got to put a belt sander on it, and then the back side I need to measure it and cut off to make it the same depth of these walls once the trim. And then I sunk the screws about halfway down and used liquid nails, so I knew I was going to be ripping a little bit off the front of it. Then I'll put a trim piece on the front. I'll sand this off real nice in the front, and then put a trim piece that'll have my reveal on each side, and then put a rail across here. I'm just having a small railing up top. That's basically to keep my dumb dog from falling off. He gets kind of crazy when he's got a bug up his ass, so at least if he falls there, he'll be onto the steps. This is what I cut today. The thicker ones where the door goes, and the cabinet, because it's a little bit taller because of the wheel well. And I have a lot of short pieces. That's why I added some pieces here in there. Then I put a couple pieces of wood on my table saw so I can set small ones out of the way once I get done with them. So that's what I'll be doing this week. Hopefully I'll get them at least sanded tonight. Maybe start on the pre-stain. And on a good note, I finally got my dryer put together. So that thing did real well. Although I did break my igniter, I bumped it and it fell, so I had to pay $46 for a new igniter. I knew something like that was going to happen. It was just, everything was taking apart too long waiting for them folks to get me the right parts. But that's the way it goes. Next weekend I may do a video on my gas lines, how I'm going to lay them out. I'm getting most of all that stuff pre-positioned to start putting fittings into my pressure regulators and things like that. Got a couple fittings on order. We have a place called Engineering and Equipment here in town. If you're going to buy gas fittings, go to somewhere where they sell it to the tradesmen guys. Some places don't sell it to the general public, but you can find one that does. The prices are much reasonable. Flare nuts are less than half what they are at Lowe's and Home Depot. Home Depot had a flare nut for $227 1/2 inch, and I got them for 98 cents there. So don't run to Home Depot and buy the bulk of it. I mean, they're fine for, you know, 1 or 2 pieces that you forgot about, but make your list up as much as you can and go to the jobbers warehouses. Alright, till next video. Alright, let me add a couple electrical things here on the tail end of this one. We finally got our fart fan put in and exhaust. It's not too loud. And also, when I was talking about this outlet a couple videos ago, I could not pass through downstream. I had too many outlets, and you're limited in the number of outlets that you can protect. I didn't want to push it, have this thing popping or whatnot, so I just went ahead and just pigtailed it out and passed the rest of the outlets that go into my son's room. That was just an extra $12, so it was no big deal. Alright, next time.